here soon, we are going to probably have over 5,000 fans in the grandstands here at the Skagit Speedway for night number 3 of the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals, as they are going to watch the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series compete for $25,000 here in Burlington, Washington. Welcome back to today's video. Super pumped to get back to Skagit for night number 3, our third chance at just trying to get faster at this racetrack with the 410 in and really try to build some consistent laps and get our race car better. We have done pretty well the first 2 nights as far as just getting more and more up to speed. The greatest show on dirt. Well, as it says there in the saying, I mean, they are the best in 410 sprint cars. These guys are so talented and so fast. They don't make any mistakes, and in order to be right there with them, you have to do the same as well. So $25,000 on the line. I'm sure everyone is going to be giving it 110% tonight, and I wanted to start my video right here in the infield. Actually, one of the best views and places to watch the races from. Little 360 action. There's a look at 3 and 4, the beautiful grandstands, the front straightaway, and then a look at turns 1 and 2. One of the things that makes this place so difficult is both ends are completely different, so we've been working on that this weekend, as well as we had a little bit of rain overnight, so the track crew is working really hard to get this thing smooth and prepared for the races in just a couple of hours. So even though there's more money on the line, it's still the same format. We're gonna have engine heat, hot laps, and then right into single car qualifying. Remember, with the Outlaws, the better you qualify, the farther up front you start in the heat races, and that is so crucial. So we're gonna be heading back to the trailer, just getting prepared for the night, and overall, I just feel happy and excited and ready to take on the Outlaws for night number 3 out of 4 of this weekend. Well, qualifying is complete here at Skagit for night number 3. All the changes we made to the race car really seemed to help, but it didn't help that we went out late. We kind of had our backs up against the wall. I think we were the 22nd car to roll out for 410 qualifying. And the racetrack was super slick tonight. They weren't able to work it super early in the morning, so the surface is just extremely hard, and as hot laps went out, it just got slicker and slicker. And then for qualifying, it kind of finally started to build a little bit of a grip lane. As far as my 2 laps, man, the first one was a little rough, the second one was a little better, but I just never felt like I was able to hit both corners perfectly by any means. So I just really need to work on my qualifying. It's something I've kind of struggled with in my racing. I've always been a better racer than a qualifier, so got to find a little bit of speed when it counts, but I think the 18T and where we're starting tonight is a very good point. Heat race is going to be up next. I think we ended up 19th overall, same amount of cars tonight, so we're going to be starting 7th in heat race number 1. Track is slick, a little bit more my style. Let's see if we can get out there and get racing. Going to be a quick turnaround here after opening ceremony, so heat race will be up next. So you guys are probably a little bit confused. That heat race obviously did not go to as planned. I actually thought, you know, going into it with what we were trying to do, the race car was gonna be good. And I usually don't talk about specific changes we do to the AT&T, but in this situation, to explain it, to give you guys a better idea, I feel like that's the only way to, and the only fair way for you guys to understand what is going on. So it's no secret that a lot of teams try to detune their engine to take power away after qualifying. They always make the joke, we buy these expensive engines for 2 laps, and then the rest of the night at most racetracks, it just gets so slick you don't need all 900 horsepower. And we hadn't really taken power away all weekend because we just weren't sure with how Skagit races, you really do carry a lot of speed, but we've had a lot of wheel spin and a lot of guys detune to try to get rid of that. So here is what we were trying to do. If you kind of look here at our ram tubes, you see this one right here. That is what it looks like with the restrictor in it. The one here on the right has obviously no restrictor, and that just restricts the airflow, which kills power and helps as the racetrack loses grip. But what was happening, we hadn't ran restrictors in this engine yet, and for some reason on the bottom side here, you have the butterfly, which is when I stand on the gas, it opens that butterfly, gives me full throttle. The butterfly was hitting the bottom part of the restrictor, so it's too long. And so not only was the engine restricted, but I literally probably couldn't get maybe over 50% throttle, so that's why like it took off all right, it still jumped forward, but then at a certain point, like the throttle pedal wouldn't go down anymore. So immediately I realized I was in trouble once I got out there. Hopefully that makes more sense to you guys, but anyway, we tried to detune and it just, it didn't work. So we're gonna be moving forward here to the A main event. Obviously that sucked because we didn't get a chance to test our car. We didn't have speed. We didn't get to do any laps. I pulled in because I realized, you know, something was up. So A main event's gonna be coming up next. Everyone makes the show. We're gonna see what they do, and then tonight's feature is also gonna be 40 laps. So it is getting later and later here in Burlington, Washington. Focus Midgets just finished up their A main event. Now it is time for us to roll out. Since tonight is a bigger event and there's probably, it feels like almost 10,000 people in the grandstands, they're gonna do driver intros, they're gonna push all the cars around the track, and also right before we do that, they're gonna do some last minute track prep to try to get the racing surface really, really good for this upcoming feature. So we're getting ready to push the car out there. We're gonna see what changes they make and what we maybe also need to do to our car to be ready for these 40 laps.
Lining up in the 22nd starting spot from Jacksonville, Oregon, in the next change to onside splitters, pit stop USA fast for the first number AT&T, Tanner Holmes.
Okay, well they're just announcing the final drivers for driver intros. I feel pretty good. They really worked on the track. Like I'm talking, the bottom has some grip, the top has some grip. I don't think it's gonna stay that way, but that's what it is currently, you know, in this state right now. But we are rolling off from deep, I believe officially about 20 seconds. So I do need to try to get going forward because the leaders are gonna be coming around. But I think we got a good hot rod. We tried to, you know, just gauge it for kind of where we ended last night, and I felt comfortable then. So just gotta try to get better and better every single lap. And like I said, hopefully we can stay in front of those leaders and really try to work on going forward and possibly get hard charger in tonight's A main event. So they're finishing up. It's about time to put the helmet on. Well, I finally got in the trailer and a chance to catch you guys up on our night. Obviously, the main event's over. The most amount of fans I've ever seen here at the Skagit Speedway absolutely poured into the pit area. It was awesome to meet everyone. We probably just spent 30 to 45, maybe almost an hour out back behind the 18T, and it was cool to sign autographs and hear everyone's story. As far as my race tonight, it sucked that we did start so far back because I knew, and actually the fact that it went green to checkered was a huge part of it, but obviously the leaders were coming around at a rapid pace, but it sounded like actually we were pretty good from the looks of it. It's obviously hard to know how fast people are catching up to you, but I really felt comfortable. I got by a couple of guys at the start, and then everyone started to spread out, but the racetrack changed a ton, went from bottom to middle, and it really got dominant as it moved up closer and closer to the fence. But the leaders kind of got to me, and I felt like I held my own for a little bit. Eventually I saw a slide job, and then I kind of got back into like a defense mode of just trying to get a little bit out of the way and let them do their thing. And then once a couple of them got back by me and it seemed like it was clear, I jumped back up to the top side to really just work on my own race and running laps. And I think at one point I was behind Wayne Johnson and Casey Kane, and I felt like I was hanging right there with them. I mean, really, really good. The best I felt in the 410 here at Skagit all weekend. All the setup changes we made in the direction we were heading for later in the race was super, super good, and it felt like I could just go in the corner. I wasn't even, wide open or anything, really keeping the tires under me, but driving hard all the way enough around to where the car did its thing. I wasn't buzzing the tires, and I had momentum, rolling forward. So it was really cool to be right behind those guys for quite a few laps. And then a couple guys got together in front of me. I checked up, and then I was back, racing, or not racing. I had a couple of guys, lapping our car. And then we got towards the closing stages, towards lap 40, but I think the race was only 8 or 8.5 minutes long, and it was just nonstop up on the wheel. But the experience I gained out there was so key, and I was glad I was able to do every lap because that's exactly what I needed. So we're gonna finish loading up. I'm probably gonna go check out the racetrack for you guys, or we're gonna end this video, and then we are heading on to night number 4 of our weekend. Well, Skagit, you sure gave us a great Labor Day weekend. I mean, check out the surface that we had. It was pretty fast, kind of at the start of the A, and it really started to blow off, and I actually wasn't expecting it to hold up as well as it did. I was sure that it was going to take rubber at some point, but man, they were able to get enough moisture in it and dig it up a little bit to keep it to where it was racy for, most of the race. The bottom was pretty good early, but I would say maybe 5 to 7 laps in, the middle started to come in, and then it just pushed up closer and closer to the outside wall as the race went on. And one thing worth mentioning, actually being with the Outlaws, I ran with the All-Stars, and the pace those guys run is insane too. It's right there with the Outlaws, but really getting to run with these guys, it's so much different than what you watch on the live stream and on TV. It looks like they're running hard, but when you're next to them and they're wide open, sliding through the slick, just absolutely getting after it. Slide job for slide job, clearing cars left and right, just making these crazy moves. It really puts all of it into perspective. And that's really where I felt like I learned a lot tonight. And even though, you could say, well, man, Carson lapped you guys almost twice there, non-stop, green to checkered, but man, I got to run around those guys, and then at one point, as I mentioned, right behind Casey Kane, and I felt like we, held a pretty good pace with him, and he wasn't really pulling away from us. And part of that is also Skagit, I think, just kind of how it was racing. At certain points, it was just a little bit of a train around the top side, and everyone was a similar speed, and you really had to wait for someone to make a mistake to catch up to them. But we rebounded, and I felt so comfortable. And I think the saying to kind of end the night is, I wish we could go back and now run all 3 nights again with what we learned, because all the changes we threw at the car only got it better. I was able to run the top, and it was so balanced. The right rear, I could feel it, but I could also feel the left rear and how they were super even. I could go in the corner, and it would wing over, and it would just roll. It wouldn't get out from under me, but it also wouldn't push over on the right rear as I buried it where I needed it to be. So I do want to give a quick shout out to Carly, my dad, and Chris for filling in this weekend as crew chief. Unfortunately, my main crew chief, Roger, wasn't able to make it up, and Chris did a good job just working with us, trying to get the race car better, and he has very similar stuff and ideas to what Roger does, so it actually worked out really well. So we persevered. We were able to finish our first ever weekend with the Outlaws, but we do have one more show with them tomorrow for Labor Day over at the Grays Harbor Raceway. Just want to give a quick shout out to all of my sponsors: Fast 4 Media, On-Site Screeners, Earth Environmental, Next Gen Def, Pit Stop USA, OMA KTM, QRC, Lafarge, and everyone else that puts so much into our racing program. As I mentioned, Skagit did a heck of a job giving us a good surface and 3 racy nights, and now we're going to cap it off with one more night with the Outlaws in Washington. And man, I'm looking forward to it, especially with where we ended tonight and where we're going to be able to start tomorrow. So thank you guys for hanging out with the journey, all the Pacific Northwest fans, as also everyone that watched on the live stream. It was just great to have you guys with us for the weekend. That was one I'll never forget because it was my first ever time with the greatest show on dirt. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow, Monday, Labor Day, Grace Harbor Raceway, Elma, Washington. See you there. Deuces.